Hey, what's going on everybody? It's your bro, hope you're doing well, and in this video I'm going to explain for loops in Python, and at the end of this video we're going to create a countdown timer, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. If you wouldn't mind, please like, comment, and subscribe. One like equals one prayer for the YouTube algorithm. Alright guys and gals, let's talk about for loops. A for loop is a statement that will execute its block of code a limited amount of times. It's similar but different from a while loop because a while loop could iterate an unlimited or infinite amount of times depending on the condition. A for loop will only iterate a limited amount of times. And before we start executing its block of code, we already know how many times we're going to repeat this block of code. So for this example, let's create a for loop that will simply count up to 10, and then we'll create a few more sophisticated examples. So to create a for loop that will count up to 10, this is what we'll type. For, and then we need some sort of counter. People usually either write index, or they shorten it to just I for index. For I in, and we can set a range. Range 10. So we will execute this for loop 10 times. And to finish this for loop, just add a colon at the end. So the next line or lines will be indented, so that's the block of code for the for loop. What do we want to do during each iteration? Let's just print what I is, and let's take a look to see what would happen. So we executed this for loop 10 times, except with computers always start with 0. So when we said for I in range 10, we're counting numbers 0 through 9. So it's as if this number is exclusive. So there's two ways we can change this. We could say range 10 plus 1, or what I would do is say print I plus 1. So this will give us numbers 1 through 10. So that's a for loop. It will execute a limited amount of times. This time, let's count a range between two numbers. Not necessarily 0 to 10, but something else. So let's say for I in range, maybe the numbers 50 through 100. So within my range function, I will pass in two numbers. The first number will be the starting point, and the second number is the ending point. This first number is inclusive, and the second number is exclusive. So let's print this. Print whatever I is. So this will count 50 through 99 actually. If you wanted to include this last number since it's exclusive, what we could do is just add 1 to the end. So this would give us 50 through 100, except that this will iterate 51 times since we're counting 50. So you just have to pay attention to your range and the numbers that it's counting. Now, one thing that you could do with the range function is that you can add a third argument, and this will function as the step, how much you want to count up or down by. So this time, let's count up by 2. So I'll add comma 2. We're passing in a third argument this time. So this program will now count up by 2, starting at 50 and go all the way to 100. A benefit of for loops is that we can iterate through anything that is considered iterable. This could include a string, the letters in a string, or any sort of collection. So this time, let's create a for loop that will iterate once through each letter in maybe a name. So for I in, and let's type a name here. Type in whatever your first name and last name is. And then we will print whatever I is. For I in whatever your name is, print each letter in the string. So when I run this, each letter within my name will be printed to a new line. Alright people, for my last trick, we're going to create a program where we will simulate a countdown starting at 10 and count down to 0. And then maybe once we reach 0, we can print something such as Happy New Year. So to create this program, we'll need an import. So at the top, we're going to import the time module because we'll be waiting 1 second after each iteration of this for loop. So to create this program, let's say for. You could say I, but you can really write anything here. And to demonstrate that, let's say 4 seconds. 4 seconds in range. So the starting point is going to be 10. The ending point will be 0. And we'll add a step. What do we want to count up or down by? Let's set this to -1. So this will be a countdown starting at 10 and ending at 0. So after each iteration, let's print whatever I is, or in this case, seconds. And then we can sleep, have our thread sleep for a number of seconds too. So after we print seconds, type time.sleep and pass in how long you want to sleep for. I would like to sleep for 1 second. And then at the end, let's print Happy New Year. Make sure this isn't within the for loop. Print Happy New Year. And well, that's it. Let's test this. So we'll begin at 10 and count down to 0, and you can see that my thread that is running this program is sleeping for 1 second after each iteration of this for loop. Then once we reach 0, it will display Happy New Year. Well, everybody, that's the basics of for loops. A for loop is a statement that will execute its block of code a limited amount of times. It's different from a while loop because a while loop could execute an infinite or unlimited amount of times. With for loops, they execute limited amounts of times, and before we enter the for loop, we already know how many times we're going to iterate this for loop. If you would like a copy of all this code, I will post this in the comments down below. But yeah, that's how for loops work in Python. Hey you, yeah, I'm talking to you. If you learned something new, then help me help you in 3 easy steps by smashing that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro.